I don't know what to say, but all hail the King of Wakanda. So in this movie, T'Challa is the heir to the advanced kingdom of Wakanda, who must step forward to lead his people as he confronts a challenger named Killmonger from his country's past. Will Black Panther be able to keep his country in peace from this blood-hungry psychopath? Or will Black Panther 2 do the same thing Rise of Skywalker did to Carrie Fisher? But all the jokes aside, in August 28, 2020, an actor named Chadwick Boseman died due to cancer at the age of 43. And let's just say that I'm truly crushed about this. I mean, this is an actor that played some great roles in movies like 42 as Jackie Robinson, Get On Up as James Brown, Marshall as well, and most notably T'Challa, aka the Black Panther. And I try to think about what scene left the biggest impact on me from Chadwick Boseman. And for some reason, the last scene of him in Captain America Civil War always comes to mind. He doesn't have many lines in this, mind you, but seeing his anger build throughout the film, resulting in this calm and collected moment, really left a big impression on me. What I saw from this scene is how empty and how bitter and overall just how pathetic vengeance can make a man.
Vengeance has consumed you. It's consuming them. I'm done letting it consume me.
It's a moment that works not only because it stands on its own, but because his performance throughout the rest of the film has been building up to it, which led to a great scene and such a great character. He was a great actor that had so much more to give, but at least we can all agree that what he did give left a massive impact. Rest in peace, Chadwick. Wakanda forever. So anyway, in favor of this tragic moment, let's go back and talk about what critics thought was the Schindler's List of superhero movies, and that is Black Panther. And thank God people finally started noticing that this was nowhere near the hype it deserved. Now don't get me wrong, this is actually a really solid movie, but the hype this film got before and especially after was so massive that even the Academy Awards were trying to get some new category just to make this film get more Oscars. Now I know a lot of people are going to disagree about my statement, but all I'm gonna say is that this movie is kind of overrated. But it's not overrated in a sense that it was underwhelming, but I felt like this movie almost reached that epic level. It just holds back in the last minute, which isn't necessarily a bad thing given that this is still a really strong film, but I don't feel like it's the masterpiece everybody's been hyping it up to be. But with that said, there is a lot to love about this film. For one, the world building in this movie is just amazing. I feel like ever since Guardians, Marvel started to tap more on world building because let's be honest, Phase 1 and part of Phase 2 was kinda playing it safe. Okay, I take it back, maybe Asgard, but that's still a really hard maybe. But in this movie, Wakanda is actually presented in a very compelling way and feels more like Coogler's vision as opposed to Disney's demands like in the Thor films. Oh my god, what am I saying? These two movies, Ragnarok is a masterpiece, the other ones could just die in a shoe. Cause you know, their jokes in those movies were basically just shoe-based.
Dan, give me your shoe. Give me your shoe.
Can I have my shoe back?
You know, sometimes I just want to stomp on Dark World so hard with my shoe cause it sucks. But seriously, Wakanda's pretty neat. The score for this movie is also really great. I get the feeling that the score has a lot of culture to it because there will be a lot of African chants and sort of this African aesthetic that I feel really embodies the entire film, and I should know because I'm African myself and I'm not going to tell you where I am unless you comment down below. But anyway, it feels very different and more stylized and grand than most Marvel films. I also think most of the fight scenes are really cool, and please note that I said most. We'll get to that in a bit. But anyway, they are really cool. But without a doubt, the best overall aspect this film brings is the villain. Oh my god, Killmonger is such an awesome, mind-blowingly numbing villain. If Thanos wasn't around to win Best Marvel Villain, he would have easily hit first place. He's very identifiable, we know where he's coming from, we know exactly why he's doing this. But on top of all that, it really comes from Michael B. Jordan's performance, because aside from Creed, this is hands down his best performance. And like many great villains, he always goes that one step further, but you're still following the other previous steps, and better yet, you identify with the pain he's been in. You know, a great example is when Killmonger actually goes to his version of the ancestral plane and he meets his father there. And believe it or not, there's some actual great commentary there.
Everybody dies. It's just life around here.
Well, look at what I've done. I should have taken you back long ago. Instead, we are both abandoned here.
Well, maybe your home's the ones that's lost. That's why they can't find us.
You'd think that this guy from the streets wouldn't fit in with this culture that has its own unique style and an overall sense of grand language. But when he comes in, you know he's talking business. I mean, bro, he comes in like he owns the damn place and is just a fantastic character. And the ending monologue this man gives is probably the rawest crap I have ever heard from a Marvel movie.
Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships. Because they knew death was better than bondage.
Bro, is this man for reals? Even the side characters are great too. Letitia Wright has some great lines and overall kind of steals the movie whenever she's on screen. Lupita Nyong'o was pretty cool. Danai Gurira was overall amazing. Frodo was pretty good too. That guy from Get Out was really good as well. But I feel like the guy who was just chewing the scenery all the way back and forth was definitely Andy Serkis. You know what? I don't know what he's doing in this film or how he got in it, but all I'm gonna say is this man is a freaking lunatic.
Hey, come here. Come here, come here. It's okay. You can go, but just don't tell anyone, alright?
Bro, why you ain't just shoot him right here?
Because it's better to leave the crime scene more spread out. Makes us look like amateurs.
Oh my god, do I love this man. I feel like every time he has a scene, he'll do whatever it takes to be on screen as much as possible. Like he's holding you hostage until he finishes his routine, whether it's funny or not, and it's so much fun.
Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
Truth be told, I feel like the side characters in this movie really upstage the main character in this. And here's where you might disagree, but I think one of the least interesting things in Black Panther is, big shock, Black Panther himself. And I don't feel like this is Boseman's fault because it's really just the script. He actually still does great as the role, and there are scenes where he's legitimately intimidating and well written. But the story around him kind of feels like a continuation of the arc he had in Civil War, and that's fine, but A, they don't do much with it, and B, wasn't that arc kind of resolved and now it's more of the responsibilities of being king, which they do it here as well, it's just not very interesting. A great example is when he's at his lowest point in the film and everybody he knew and loved pretty much thinks he's dead. And you'd think he would have this sort of spiritual journey and kind of grow as a character. And I guess he kind of does, but not only does Boseman have some weird acting in that scene.
Our future depended
You are wrong! All of you are wrong!
Why was he jumping back and forth? That was a little weird. But the main issue is that they don't put too much focus on it. Or at the very least, not the focus it should get. which is kind of disappointing. But then again, he's not bad in the film or anything, because like I said before, Boseman does a great job for what he had, and I feel very terrible talking about him this way, especially the fact that this video is literally made just for him. But he still has some great moments, and a good chunk of the time he's written very well, like when he was in the ancestral plane, aside from whatever the bouncing was. Look, dude, you're Black Panther, not Tigger. You got to stop embarrassing yourself.
The wonderful thing about Tigger is Tigger's a wonderful thing. The tops are made out of rubber, the bottoms are made out of spring. The bouncy, trouncy, flouncy, pouncy, fun, 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 fun. But the most wonderful things about Tigger is I'm the only one.
But I feel like this movie just needed one more rewrite where you could touch up some of the storylines and make it more epic. And speaking of epic, that's something I would not call some of the effects of this film, because boy can they be Justice League bad. Now I feel like a good 85% of the effects of this film is actually really solid.
But the 15%
is really bad. And all of that, and I repeat, all of that comes from the big climax of the film. It's not bad, I've seen much worse climaxes, but the CG in that section especially is really crappy. Like, look at this shot. I cannot be the only one who's seeing this, right? But the height of terrible effects in this movie is without a doubt the T'Challa versus Killmonger final fight. Now, I think everybody and their mom has texted, uploaded, tweeted, I don't care, with a word that ends with id. But I feel like they said once, just once, that this scene looks like a damn video game, and you cannot shy away from that thought. But you know what? Considering that we're on this subject, what would you imagine when you hear something as awesome as that? Well, I would imagine something as grand as The Lion King, where he's up this mountain and you see the fiery sunset. I mean, this is it. All this has been leading up to this great moment, this rivalry between them. It's practically written for them. But nope, it's entirely CG. You can't make out most of what's happening. The setting they're in is not very engaging. It's just some butt-ugly train tracks. And oh, did I mention that it looks butt-ugly as hell? Oh my god, I can't look at it. Take it off screen, please. And even the climax isn't very impactful or even that cool. It just comes out of left field, and just look at it. This is so stupid. The big issue I have with this climax is that we don't have a lot of connections with these people. Like, we don't know if Okoye and the Get Out guy actually like each other. We don't know if Killmonger actually had more interactions with these people. Like, all I wanted was a few more scenes to build up this moment to let you sink in the impact of these characters. But look, here's the thing, I honestly don't think it ruins the film or anything. I just feel like a lot of those little missteps kind of got in the way to say that this is actually a masterpiece, even though I still really like it nevertheless. But anyway, Black Panther is still a really solid Marvel film. It doesn't quite reach that epic level to make it one of the greats, or at least the masterpiece everybody's been building it up to be, but it still has some great action, some great characters, especially the villain. It has great acting, a great score, and an overall massive scale. So I'm gonna give Black Panther a solid 8 out of 10. It's certainly not one of my favorites out of the MCU, but it sure is one of the most unique out of the MCU, and certainly one of the most important. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, like, sub, and comment. Follow my Insta's username with 2 S's. And I feel like the most appropriate ending to this video will be something that would tug at all of your heartstrings until you watch every movie this man has made. And then you'll feel that not only were you taking him for granted as just another really good actor, but you'll feel a feeling that no person can take away from you. And that's the guilt that another great icon has passed. Here's the clip.
About Black Panther 2, anything?
I'm dead.
No, we're not ready for you to be dead, Chadwick.
I am. I'm dead.
Wakanda forever.